found here. You'll come around here. I'm gonna see now. Never for me now. I was found here. You'll come around here. I was found here. You'll come around here. Leading me higher. 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 Leading me higher.
You know the type of guy that was a jock in high school but ended up becoming a huge nerd? You know, someone that's not afraid to make a fool of themselves on the internet. And someone that likes to shoot Polaroid a little too much. Did I say huge nerd? You know, just an ordinary, everyday guy. Well, that's me. I'm just another Chris. Welcome into the live stream, the show. I'm your host, just another Chris, with that long intro. No, but today's a pretty cool day. I don't stream as much as I used to, and I really need to get back in the habit of it. That way you guys know when to show up for these epic live streams. But today I wanted to talk about the book that I made and I put out, and you guys, were able to pick it up for yourself. The special edition versions, I should say, and that is what I'm going to actually show you right now, which unfortunately I can't quite get anymore because since I had to pretty much assemble them by hand. I only did a limited run of the first edition release of the book, which is the archive version. The artifact. That's more accurate. The artifact edition, which the book is littered with fun little inserts throughout the pages. But if you still want to get the book, I have a special little announcement for you coming up in just a few seconds, which I'll just say right now. You can order the book directly from the manufacturer or my publisher, if you will. Not really. I don't have a publisher. I'm not that fancy. But I do have a link for you in the description if you want to get the book. There's a paperback and a hardback version. It is 140 pages, so I kind of went crazy. And so I try to get the cost down to the absolute bare minimum, like the cheapest that I possibly can. And that was another reason why I did the different versions of these. That way you felt like you got a whole bunch for, your buck. So, anyway, I got them down as cheap as I possibly can. So there's a link in the description if you want to get one. And I'm actually going to be giving away one of these books, not the hardback, but a paperback version, just like so. It'll be signed, and I'm going to insert two things. The first two, I don't have the second one, but the first two monthly print club for Patreon members in with this. The second one is going out next month, end of this month. So basically you'll probably receive it, early next month. But I am including both of these, the first two, because I've only done two so far, with this book. And I'm giving this away soon. I'll explain the details on how to get one for yourself if you're interested. And so, yeah, consider that coming up soon. But I wanted to take the moment to share, the book and actually, go through the pages, talk about a little bit of my thought process with it, and just share some of the stories that are in it, because it's not just a photo book. I see that all the time with, photographers, or, pretty much just photographers, obviously. But I wanted to combine everything that I do, because I've never really considered myself a photographer. I like taking photos. Yeah, I do. I'm more on the video side of things, and live streaming, actually, which is kind of, interesting, considering I don't live stream here that much, but I help other people live stream, get their studios built. I travel the country, and I talk about that in this book as well. And so I wanted to combine it all into one book. Now, how do I get videos in a book? I'm going to explain it with you, because this book is interactive. You can find special little QR codes and watch videos throughout the book. You will be able to see all types of my photography, such, depending on the medium I'm using: digital, film, Polaroid, Fuji, all that sort of stuff. Instant photography, really. And so I thought I would go through the pages, share some of the stories, because I do like telling stories. I'm not like a great storyteller, and that's kind of the joy of this book. It's to hopefully show you that literally anyone can do this. If I can do it, you could do it. And I didn't want to be limited, because I don't feel like comfortable enough sharing this stuff, if that makes sense. Because I used to be like that for a very, very long time. I didn't make anything until I had the confidence to say I am perfect and I won't make a mistake. That's the most ridiculous phrase or anything. It's ridiculous. That's never going to happen. You won't get good until you start. And so here's my first book. It's kind of a train wreck in the regards of my writing abilities. And I'm not even a graphic designer. I don't do that. I try. I can fake my way through things. And so this is just a collection of me trying to hopefully inspire you guys to get out there and make something yourself. I don't know that one. And even Echo doesn't, or the Alexa doesn't know that as well. Thank you. Appreciate you. But, she derailed me. But, hopefully to inspire you guys to not be afraid to make something. Maybe not this, but literally anything else, basically. Don't let yourself be held back by yourself, And so that's really what this is. This book is really about you specifically. And we'll go through this together, and hopefully it will become clear as to kind of the goal I was trying to go. There's a few Easter eggs throughout this book. And so, it has my name on it, but really it is a story about you. And so I'm very excited to share some of these fun stories with you guys. It's not a book as far as let's just dive into it, shall we? And if you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment below. We will chat and interact and have some good times. But before I dive into this, I do want to quickly mention, I just launched Discord. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So if you want to join the Discord, join chats, share whatever questions you may have, or just hang out with some like-minded people, there's a link in the description below if you would want to do so. And if you want to join the monthly print club and get one for yourself, there's a link down there for you as well. And I think I even have... Wrong button. It's been a while. I forgot what button it was. There it is. Oh man, train wreck. So there you go. There's a link for you if you want to do that as well. But let's dive into this book, shall we? So here is the book. I should have brought out... Do I have that handy? I think I do. Let me grab it. So for this book, I didn't use any stock photos for anything. I created everything you see. So the background like template isn't a template. I created it, and the thing I used for it was actually this. And you may notice this like design is part of my banner and other graphics for the page, my end credit scene, not end credit, my title screen at the end of my videos. But this is what this is. That's it. I was making something which we'll show you in the book, and this was my, I was painting some stuff on it, and this is just what I was using to protect the surface, and I turned it into this. The colors are going to look way different because this camera, the overhead shot is, I think the white balance is not set correctly, but gives you an idea that this is literal trash, right? But I was able to reuse it for something cool. Hopefully that, you know, gives a little advice there. Okay, so inside the book, presented with disclaimer. Really just talking about two things. One is I didn't want to focus too much on writing things necessarily grammarly correct. That's not even how you say it. So that's why I said it that way. And I'll get to that in just a minute. But also, like, hey, you can pull out your phone and you can scan codes and watch videos. I thought that was a cool little way to start this out. And here's me talking about this book is about you specifically. And hopefully we'll be able to learn that together, which you will. I'll explain it towards the end of the book. So you have to learn about me to learn about you. Yeah, that's really it. So the first thing is they presented with, here's one of the fun inserts I included with the artifact versions of the book, which was only in the hardback that I put out a month ago or so. And so this is talking about my passion for music. I used to play an instrument, and I might share some of those stories in the next book, because I plan on making this book every year, almost like a yearbook essentially. So this is my 2020 book. It says so right there. Look at that. Boom, 2020. Even though it came out this year, but I built it and created this book in 2020. So it's talking about my passion for music, and I did all this stuff just for a passion. I didn't charge anybody for this. I just went and saw some of my friends play some music at some bars, and this was actually a special event that I went to. Again, I didn't charge for anything. It's just fun, and I never really charged for my photography work because I don't really consider myself a photographer. I've taken some good photos, I would say, but I wanted to share a little bit about it and give you something to, you know, keep and show. And then you can actually watch some music videos that I created while I was taking these photos, and they are, some of them are on how do I explain this? The codes will lead you to a lot of archived footage or videos that I had to like re-upload essentially, and you may have seen that here on the channel. Like I created a playlist of my Geeks Life archive, and it's not really it's a public playlist, but all the videos are unlisted, and I had to re-upload a lot of videos, or well, I wanted to upload a lot of videos from that because which I'll talk about later in here. We do get to that part, but I used to have another YouTube channel. It was called Geeks Life that I no longer have anymore, and that's a story for another day. But a lot of those videos of like my work is gone. Luckily, I do tend to archive my own work and other people's works. I don't delete anything. So I was able to dig in old hard drives and find the completed footage. Most of the raw footage is still around, but it's just kind of sad that most of those videos are now completely erased from the internet. So I had to go in and do that. And this happened after I had made one of the books already. I have one of the original drafts, and they got deleted after the book was made, so I had to remake the books, which cost a lot of money just to have a QR code re-put in a book for like 3 or 4 videos. Super frustrating. It cost quite a bit of money. And yeah, so there we go. Let's just move on. This is pretty cool. This photo right here was taken by my grandfather in World War II. And I never really put it together until a couple of years ago, really. Like, I like telling stories, I like sharing other people's stories mostly, and I do like taking photography and, you know, video and everything, and I didn't realize, like, I think it stemmed from this photo, and I still have it. It is probably one of my most prized possessions that I have, because of the historical factor, but also, like, I have a connection to it because my grandfather took this photo, and it is one of the largest buildings that he could find after we dropped a nuke on Japan. And it's just kind of a crazy, just eerie thing to think about. And he was there and experienced it, and it's just something that I would love to have shared his stories before he passed away. And so I still have it, and it's really one of the main inspirations for kind of where I'm at now. And so it's in the book. Wanted to share it with you guys. And there's more, and I haven't seen them. I guess my uncle has a few more. I'm hoping to see them soon. This is a pretty cool one too. I shared a story about how me and my brother were really good at playing Tony Hawk growing up. We were really, really good. Like, not to toot my own horn, but if there was ever a video game like I could go pro at, it would have been this. I was pretty good at Halo growing up, like pretty good, more than the average person. But Tony Hawk, especially Tony Hawk 4, I was me and my brother could have gone pro, like no joke. If it was as big, like if tournaments and e-gaming was like big then as is now, we would have definitely been somebody for sure playing this game. And so the funny story about it is we were practicing for a tournament at a local Game Crazy when those were still around, and we my brother, I would have been, well, I think I say in here, I was 13 years old. Yeah, I was 13 years old. My brother's 6 years older than me. And so we were training, and we show up on tournament day. We trained for like a month. And when we got there, it turned out that the tournament was the day before, and my brother had gotten the day wrong. And so I was really, really bummed because we were crushed. We had this, like we would have won for sure. And I was really, really bummed. And so he made it up to me because him and one of his friends were at like a mall or somewhere. I don't remember exactly where, but he got to enter in a Tony Hawk tournament for the new video game. And he didn't win, but he won like 4th place, which was still enough to get meet and greet tickets for Tony Hawk. So I got to meet Tony Hawk. He made it up for me, which is really cool. And I still have the game, still have the ticket to the event. And yeah, there it is. It's signed by Tony Hawk himself. It's pretty cool. Talking about how I'm a geek, I'm a nerd. Enough said about that, I guess. This one is really cool. You can watch a video about this, actually, of me shooting with this camera. This is the Yashica D. I did a review on this last year, actually. And it was my first real experience shooting on film. I had never done it before, and I wanted to give it a go. It's really fun, really enjoyed it. And these are some of the photos that I first shot with film, and from the first roll. And this is the first photo I ever took on film. And I chose this one to include with it, and because like it just reminds me of like one of my favorite bands, the Black Keys. I don't know why, but this photo just reminds me of like an album cover that they might use. So I don't know why, but it just does. And so yeah, I wanted to let you guys have that. And then yeah, like I said, you can watch the video by scanning the code right there. Of course, there's lots of instant photography throughout this book, and I talk about a little bit right here the reasons why instant photography is so important, in especially modern time or modern days in the digital era, because you take photos with your phone. I have like somewhat of like 7,000 photos on my phone. I go through them every now and then, probably more than the average person because of my job that I have. But the average person probably doesn't ever look at those photos. They just go there and die and never get shared, or they do get shared on Facebook and then get forgotten about. But instant photography, it's a little different. It's more tangible, and you tend to keep photos regardless of how good they are. And so I talk about right there and just a little bit of how important it is and how we should take it seriously. And here is a little reviews of some of the cameras that I used last year, part 1. There's a part 2 coming and later in the book. And I still haven't done a review on this camera, and I need to. It's been one of the long awaited videos here on this channel. But I guess I kind of did a little bit of a review in the form of, books. But you can watch the reviews except for this one on all these cameras. This one was the very first video I ever did for instant photography here on the channel. Like 3 years ago? It would have been like 2018, I think. But yeah, it's crazy. Just some random art pages. This is how the book started, by the way. I was just going to slap some of my work in the book. That way I can share this with the clients or whatever and be done. So it was just going to look like this. I kept this page like that just as homage. Because typically most photography books, even from big time photographers, do it this way. And it's not like it's bad. I just feel like if you're going to spend a lot of money on a book, because theirs sometimes are like hundreds of dollars, I feel like you should get something for your money. And there's no thought put into this. It's just pictures on a page. And that's why like I wanted to go all out and like actually design pages like you would like a magazine, So yeah, anyway. This is a really cool photo that I shot by accident. I was at a charity event in Seattle, Washington, and it was a 24-hour live stream I was assisting on, and the event was being held in the presidential suite, which was crazy. And you can actually watch the video about it right here. I walked through behind the scenes of the event and whatnot, but the what was I trying to say? We got distracted for a second. But hey, what's up, Bruce? What's going on, man? Just talking about my book and stories and stuff. We're getting some things that you'd be interested in just a second. It's packed full. But anyway, I was at this event. You can watch a little bit about it. But I took a photo of the daytime over here from the window, and that was it. Did the event about the next night. I decided to take another photo. It turns out I took the photo damn near in the exact same position and just so happened to use the exact same lens. So I was able to create this day to night photo totally by accident. Yeah, it's kind of wild. And I want to put it in a page like this. I actually had a couple of these printed large scale during for like Christmas. I gave them as gifts. One to my parents and one to some other people. And I don't have one of myself. For myself. I don't tend to keep my work. I've been trying to get better about that. I do have a couple. I have like 2 things of mine hanging up in the house. So I think I should have more. I don't know. Some people have told me like you need to start hanging up your stuff. Here's a fun story about Voodoo Donuts, which is kind of overrated. I'm going to say that. It's just nostalgia for me because like in high school, take a trip down to Portland. It's kind of crazy down there. I'm in the Vancouver side. This is like not even 20 minutes. It's like 15 minutes away, maybe less. But it's crazy downtown Portland. And so like it's always an adventure. So it's kind of nostalgia for me to go down here. And if all you fans of my other channel, like Bruce, if you're still in the house, Phil lives up here. I think his might be this one right here, maybe one more down. So, fun fact for you. What's up, Caesar? What's going on, my man? What is up? This is one I actually have printed, hanging up in my house. It was actually, I given it to my parents. I accidentally ordered the wrong size, so it's really big. And I still gave it to them as a present. They loved it, but they ended up giving it back to me because how large it is. So I made a smaller version for them, and so now I have it by default. So that's hanging up in my bedroom actually. But I took this photo so many times to try and get it perfect, and it's still not perfect, but I definitely love this. I just got lucky on the time of day. It was just super gloomy and just grungy out that day, and I was able to snap it. But as you can see, all these other attempts, and there was way more, but it's just, you keep failing after failing, and all these attempts later, you learn a lot of things, and I learned a lot of different things. As you can see, different camera positions of where I place different lenses. Actually, this is like, I'm using a super wide angle lens there, I'm using a much tighter lens here, and it was a great journey to try and get this one. And I'm still not like 100% perfect. I still might go back and shoot some more shots and try and get it just right. Make a good giveaway of the book. Yes, I am. I'm actually giving away this book, and I'm going to be talking about how to get it, soon. Once I'm done with this, I'm going to be talking about it. But I am giving one of these away with some bonuses. So, stay tuned. I couldn't live above a donut shop. I'd never leave. Yeah, especially the world famous Voodoo Donuts. The Portland location is the very first location of that, and it's definitely overrated. It's not that good. And I've been to several others around the country, and they're way better. I think my favorite one was in Austin. Like, actual good tasting donut, like really, really good. In Austin, Texas, was super good. The one at Universal Studios is pretty good too. But yeah. What's up, Brian? I take the same picture all the time, but if you'll find I'm trying to find the perfect picture for a scene. It's just a photographer's thing, I think, or a perfectionist. I'm not a perfectionist, but I try. Try my best. But yeah, this photo really is, I do love this photo. It's just that I tend not to over edit my photos either. Here, I'll go full screen on this so you can actually see what the heck is going on. There we go. Look at that. I tend to not like over edit my photos. I try to keep them realistic, as they were. Like this one, I did a little bit, like some contrast, maybe a little bit. I sharpened some of these areas over here because I really wanted to show the grime and grunge of the bridge, because it matched the tone of the sky and the weather that day. And I live in Pacific Northwest, and the weather is always changing within a moment's notice. It could start snowing right now. I'm kidding. It's not that bad, but like yesterday, or it was a couple days ago, it was super nice sunny out, and then within an hour or two, it just started raining. Like, it was cloudy again. Then it cleared up, and it was super good now. So Pacific Northwest, you can get some crazy results with your photography, and I got lucky on that day. You play one on YouTube. Oh, a perfectionist. And then this one's pretty funny, I think. So if you got the archived version, oh wait, if I zoomed out of here, there we go. I gave you a little extra TP square for the emergencies in case we're ever in another dire situation. I got you covered. But yeah, so I wanted to include that. I shot this last year, right during all that debacle. The fun fact about this photo, I look super rich, but I'm not. I had like a little bit of stack. I think I had like maybe $150, maybe $200 in 20s. And then, I had an extra 100. That's real. And then I just kept taking the photo over and over again in different spots and just kind of fudged it. But yeah, it was kind of funny. What is up, my man? Haven't seen you around a long time. I just shaved the beard last week. I did a video on that. A lot of people had mixed feelings, but all in all, I got a lot of support. It definitely feels weird, but better. I gotta say, it's so much better. lot less upkeep too. Oh, thanks, man. Really appreciate it. My boy Josh. and Angie. They just moved too, which was sad. They are old customers of mine from my store that I became good friends with. They're the people that we don't see each other hardly ever, but when we do, it's like no time has ever passed. And they got married last 2 years ago. I think it was 2019. I think it was 2019. And they wanted me to come shoot their photos. And I'm not a wedding photographer. Like I said, I'm not really a photographer anyway. At least I don't think so. I like shooting them. They're fun. But they asked me to do it. And I was like, you bet. No problem. And so I came and shot their photos. And they're just good, fun people. And I was really excited to be there that day. And was able to provide them with, these memories. And they are a weird couple. Not in a bad way. And so that's why I wanted to share a little bit about them. They're not weird in the way you think, but they are unique. They're great people. This is interesting. This is Ty Curtis. He's a local musician, super talented, blues rock guy. Awesome. Highly recommend checking him out. This is at an event that I shot. Again, just for kicks. I don't really charge for events and for photography work ever really. I've only done it a couple times, but I did a fun video about this event. It's held in this aircraft. Yeah, I guess it's like an airplane hangar. It's called the Hangar Dance, and they do it every year. This guy puts on this epic party. Like, you get helicopter rides. There's free food. All you can drink alcohol, and I have a video that I have yet to look at the footage because I accidentally ingested quite a bit of alcohol. And I was trying to shoot. I had a brand new camera and a video camera, and I wanted to shoot Ty because I haven't shot really any sort of actual video of him. And I wanted to shoot something for him, and I wanted to use the camera that night. I ended up ingesting too much. Didn't know how much they actually gave you. They overserve so much, like it's ridiculous. And I decided to switch gears and turn it into I thought, obviously I didn't do it because I wised up by sobering up, but I'm like, hey, let's do a YouTube video on how to shoot it drunk. And I remember you just kept going into the bathroom and like shooting talking head stuff, and then like walking around shooting things. I have not looked at this footage. This was like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 2 years, coming up on 3 years. In September, it'll be 3 years. And yeah, I can't bring myself to do it, but I will. And either it will go out as a members video or release it public. I'm not sure yet on that. I still have to get over watching it. But I didn't drop the camera, which I was worried about the whole night. And yeah, so anyway, a little bit about that. You can watch the previous year's epic video right here in the book as well. So yeah, it must have been 2019 then, because this is 2018. Favorite band, I've talked about them, Black Keys. Ultimate dream one day is to work with them on any sort of project whatsoever, even if it's just shooting some headshots. As you know, I'm not a photographer, but I would 100%. Would be amazing. Or just shoot some behind the scenes of like a concert or something. Freaking love them. And this was all their albums up until they just released one a week ago. It was awesome. Fun fact, this is what this talks about down here. I own their first album. I have not actually heard their first album, other than one song, I think. I purposely have done it. I'm waiting for the right time. And it's a weird thing, but like once you've, I don't know, like they're my favorite band, but once you've heard it, you've heard it. You know, you don't have that new excitement of listening to your favorite band's new album. And I just have it in the back of my brain, like, hey, there's still one more. Got that excitement, but I'm just like waiting for this right time that I don't know when it is. But I think I'm starting to feel it. There's a time coming for it, but I don't know. It's something weird about myself that I wanted to share with you. You don't look like the backup member of ZZ Top anymore. I know. Proudly, I guess. The beard is good. I recently got my summer in New Jersey is moist and hot. I do know that. I was in New Jersey in August last year, and then through most of the rest of the year, like 4 other times for some work. Next time I'm there, I'll hit you up. for sure. Maybe we could shoot some photos or something. Have you done wildlife photography? That is what I like to get into. That is cool, and I have done some, but I don't know if I actually have any in here. I do know it's over there. I have a 35mm camera that this bush tree outside my window is starting to overgrown or become overgrown. Like, it's really big, and I'm on the second floor right now, and it's been great actually because there's so much wildlife right outside my window, and I've actually been shooting some wildlife photography on 35mm film. And it's been awesome too for my dog. He likes to sit up here. He has his own little bench that he stands up and looks out, and there's hummingbirds, squirrels, even raccoons sometimes, and a possum. It's crazy. And then of course lots of different birds come through. But yeah, so there's not a lot in here, and I do have some experience in that, but I've never really dived or delved into it too much. But I respect it. Yes, I'll let you know. I have a client-ish Century 21 realty company. I was built them a studio. I'm supposed to have gone back and finished some stuff or some work for them, but I don't think that's happening anymore. But if I do, I'll let you know. Here we go. Okay, this is going old school. My background and how I got started, like basically working for myself, that financial freedom that people say is all starts with Lego. And it's Lego, not Legos. Get it right. Lego is how you say it. There's no S. But yeah, I bought and sold it for years, and then eventually worked retail for a third-party Lego company for a couple years, and then eventually opened my own retail shop that I thought was going to be a Lego store, but no, it turned into a mixture of other toys and collectibles. But in between that stuff, I got this book. I think I've shared it with you before. It's over there somewhere, but it really got me going on photography. It kicked it off, and I took this photo, which I added into the book for you guys. Let me zoom in. There we go. It happened to snow that day, and so I went out in my backyard and took a Lego figure and did that. And it came out good, I thought. And I was like, holy crap, there's something to this. And so the rest is kind of history. I kind of just started taking photos. I know I keep talking about how I don't consider myself a photographer, and I guess I am one. I just never considered myself one. I have no training. Even in video, I have hardly any training, official training outside of YouTube. Self-taught, everything. I had a cat that would talk to mockingbirds outside my window. Yeah, my dog Paco. And I have a cat too, which you'll see her in a minute in this book, actually. They'll sit there and definitely have arguments and conversations with the wildlife. Voltron, yes. So, quick backstory on this. I got this at Disneyland, and it was funny. I was with somebody down there, and I was like, "Hey, don't blow your load too fast," because they're wanting to buy a bunch of stuff. We just got there, and we haven't even gotten into Legoland. It was just on the downtown Disney, and then there was a Lego store. This was in November. There was a Lego store there, and they were having a Black Friday sale for this Voltron, and this retail originally for what, $190, I think. They had it on sale for $130. No, $125. And I was like, oh, I'm buying that. Immediately. Day one. I haven't even gone to Legoland or Disneyland yet. And I spent a lot of money. So, whoa. What are you doing with yourself now that you don't have the store? What I'm doing now is a lot of different things. I'm with a company called Livestream Pros right now. That's really kicking off into a lot more opportunities for stuff. Basically, I'm just a video editor and a videographer shooting other people's YouTube content. And I also travel around and build people custom production studios, kind of like the one you're seeing like of this setup now. I do for other people, show them how to bring in multiple cameras, bring your comments on screen, and all that sort of thing. So that's what I've really been up to the last couple of years. And you will get, when I'm almost there ish, to a specific page about what I'm trying to do that hasn't happened. COVID destroyed it, unfortunately. So we'll get into that in a minute, into the professional side of what I'm trying to do now. I did get sucked into it. I did. That pig looks like an Eye of Sauron. Oh yeah, no, for sure. And I'll talk about this in a second. Got off on a little tangent. Finally, someone who can say Lego correctly. Yeah, I have, like I said, have an extensive knowledge, all this useless knowledge, really, of Lego. I have many years. I was unemployed, no job. Went out and bought a brand new Harley Davidson motorcycle just off my Lego sales. I had just gotten fired too. I had just gotten fired, and a week later I bought a brand new Harley Davidson because I was selling Lego on the side. Yeah, so these are 360 photos. I like using 360 photos for video and photography. They take super cool photos, I think. And this is in Zion National Park in Utah, 2017. Right there. But here's my first studio ever in the back room of my old store. And this is a 360 photo. I didn't alter anything. I had a white table set up to do this effect. And I was trying to kind of like make a face. Here's the eyeballs. And my arm is like supposed to be the smiley face. Kind of worked out. But this room was so tiny. It was, I wish I'd measured it, but it was probably maybe a 7x8 room, really small. Shot all my YouTube videos, did all my live sales, like selling product on Facebook. A lot of went down in this back little room. Yeah, so then 360 photos. I included one as a little bonus in this particular version of it. Such cool like things you can do. Let me zoom in on some of these. There we go. Look at that. Yeah. Fun ones. This is the graffiti wall in Austin, Texas. That's no longer there. They tore it down. It's kind of a bummer. And that's me hanging out with Peter McKinnon and Matty Apoya. If y'all know who those guys are. Oops, sorry. Just a few random more. This is inside Zion as well. This is in the Mopop Museum of Pop Culture in Seattle, Washington. This is the Doctor Strange exhibit they have. And then, favorite project I did last year, hands down. Favorite thing I did, and that is my little miniature documentary that I did on Jose Baez. And I didn't mean to make it, it just happened. And I talk a little bit about it here. You can actually watch it right here. It's on the channel. It is about Jose and his tragic end, if you will. And it's just something that a lot of us can watch and learn from and just be aware of things. The short version is he was a collector. He collected comic books and other things to the point of homelessness. And it kind of goes from there. And there's a lot of great messages directly from him that you can learn a lot from. Great project. It's just a miniature doc. It's 42 minutes exactly, actually, which is pretty cool because, in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Answer to Life is 42. It just happened that way. Kind of wild. Thank you, Bruce. I really appreciate that. This was an awesome experience. It was really cool to watch it evolve too, because it was originally just going to be a 5-minute little video of this weird encounter I had with this guy at a storage unit. He was drunk, and I never knew what to do with it. I've had it sitting on my hard drives for like 5 years or something like that at this point, and I didn't know what to do with it. He was an old customer of mine at my store. He was a nice guy, but he was a wild one. And yeah, so I don't want to give too much away of what it's about, but it just slow. So I show it to somebody, and they were in tears, and I was like, "What?" He's like, "This is amazing." And then they were like, "You should dig deeper." And so I just kept going, and then turned it into what it is now. And yeah, it's favorite project, most rewarding project I did last year, and probably up to this point in my career, if you will. But yeah, so I was able to, unfortunately, not get it screened here. But theaters were closed last year, as you guys know. Most of them still are. They're starting to open up now, at least in my area. But this is a local theater that I've gone to since I was a little kid, down the street from where I live now. But they were struggling because they were closed, and they were offering up just their sign for, to help them keep them afloat. So I bought the space to advertise for my documentary, and so it's kind of a neat experience to see my name up on a sign on a theater I would go to as a kid. And I'm working on a larger project that they told me they would screen there when it's done. So that right there is so cool. And I'm going to do my best to make it happen. So you can watch the documentary, like I said, from this page. And then this page, you can actually watch the behind the scenes of what I just said, creating, talks about the documentary and then the whole experience of getting the sign up and whatnot. So it's pretty cool. Talking about some of my other activities. There's my motorcycle I bought with Lego. Fun fact, I don't really ride my one wheel anymore. I might sell it. I haven't ridden it in like a year, but it's pretty cool. 4th of July. This is one of the ones I had to go back and re-upload because it got deleted after I made all the books. So frustrating. Yeah, 4th of July went out with this and got people's reactions. They were that was fun. That was a fun day. I like that video. This is also funny. There was I'm not a filter guy. As you can see, I don't ever use filters, but this one got me. It was called the Scrunch. Corridor Digital actually did this filter. If you know who they are, they're a bunch of YouTubers, and you'll learn about them in the book coming up. They did a filter and it scrunched faces, and it's just ridiculously funny. Like, so funny. Look at that. It's so funny. But I was having fun with it, and then turns out now you can't even use it anymore. It's gone. I'm so bummed. So you can see it, but you can't actually use it for yourself anymore. And here's the animals in my life. That's Paco. He's a rescue from Mexico. That's Bandit, also a rescue. And then my parents' dog. This is my boss / friend. It's an interesting relationship we have. But Luria Petrucci, she's a live stream pros. That's her dog, Abby. I've never loved somebody else's dog before. Like, I mean, I care about animals. I love animals. I have never been like wanting to see other people's dogs so much, but Abby's amazing. And then that's actually my ex-girlfriend's dog. And then this is Paco. A funny picture of Paco. Yeah, I will get to that in just a second. I got you covered. Here's this cat that I rescued. Yeah. Cat's a pain in the butt. Should I say it? Yeah, okay. So I was married once, a long time ago. This was her cat. And she was just going to give it up to the pound when we were separating. And the cat's it's gotten special needs. It's grumpy all the time. It's just... It probably would have gone there to die, unfortunately. So I now have a cat. Here's just random photos of my peeps, people I know. Yeah, just some peeps. Good old Phil. Good old Callie. Work with her at Livestream Pros. Good old Jordan. You know Jordan. Here's an Easter egg, actually. This is Jordan. Yeah, we're at McDonald's for some reason. We never go to McDonald's, but we went there that day. Yeah, he's all excited for the food. Keep this picture in mind. We'll touch back on that later. And then we got Danny from the video I did. My second favorite video I did last year, the Stranger Things themed Halloween special. There you go. Cats own you. Yeah, this cat is. You can't play with her. She doesn't do anything. She's demanding for attention only like for a couple of minutes, and then she just was like, we'll switch it off to be like, you're touching me, I'm gonna kill you now. she she's just a frustrating cat. And she's really old. I've known her since she was a kitten. It used to be somebody else's cat. And then my ex-wife got her, and then I got her. She's like 13, maybe 14 years old. Yeah. Here we go. There's Luria, the Abby, the Chihuahua. That's her dog. Yeah. Ah, yes, the story of my store. Yeah, that is the story of my store from beginning to end, and then some more stuff that we'll get to in a second. But started out in the garage, like how all origin stories start, right there in the garage. And there's all my Legos. I did that on purpose. But there are all them Legos. Did it again for you. So yeah, that's where it started, right there in the garage. And you can see my bike, which I bought with all those. And then in 2014, I got fired twice from the same company. I worked for a company called Bricks and Minifigs. Ever heard of them? I worked for the original owner of it. He fired me for reasons that I got food poisoning from Olive Garden, and we had just moved into the new location, and I had worked like 10 straight days for them, or for him, and I got food poisoning from Olive Garden because at the time it was my 1-year wedding anniversary with my ex-wife, and I wanted to come in 2 hours late the next day. Maybe it might have even been 1 hour. I don't even know. It was at least an hour, let's just say that. And I got sick for 2 of my scheduled days off, right during a bad time because there was a fair going on right next to this new location, and I couldn't be there. And so I missed a total of 5 days, if you want to count it that way. 2 scheduled days, and then my normal days off, and then 1 more day. And then he fired me for that. And then he put in a good word for me to go work at another location. So I worked there, and then got fired there too. And then I was like, enough of this garbage. I'm on my own. And I did. And it was very successful right away. I was very surprised. I opened it with somebody that didn't work out. Didn't understand he didn't understand how to be a partner. When we were signing the license and getting everything going, he's like, I don't want to put my name to anything. I want to see how it goes. I'm like, that's not okay. If you want to be my partner, you got to be a partner. You got to sign on. Commit. I'm not going to take all the risk and let you get all the reward. So that only lasted 6 months or so. And then, yeah. But this was the very first location of Showroom Collectibles. I know some of you guys in the chat are from those days, but I don't know if you've ever seen the original shop. There's the original spot. It wasn't much. Couldn't even afford to fix the carpet because it used to be like a restaurant, and they put up a wall to make it two spots, and there was like a buffet or something, or I don't know what was right there, but it was covered. And yeah, that was the very first location. Look at that. Wild. The flashbacks I've got of that. And then about 2 years later, I was able to expand into the units a couple doors down. Much larger spot. And yeah, the walls were that color. It used to be a foot massage place. When I opened the first spot, it lasted about a week, maybe a month later. And I think about it, might have been a month. They raided the place and shut it down, and it sat there for about 2 years, completely vacant, and needed so much work. Worked out a deal with them. If I did all the work, they would cut me a rent break, but they screwed me big time and only gave me 15 days to move in to the new spot. Otherwise, I'd have to pay rent on both places. They're very kind people over there at, what were they called? Metro Property Management. Very kind people over there. Not. So I had to do all the work by myself, demo it out like that. Wait, there we go. Demo everything, clean it out, and move in. in 15 days. Yeah. I did it. I did do it. My last cat was 14 when she passed away. Ooh, I'm sorry to hear that. She passed away. I mean, here she comes, actually. This cat. It's never fun to lose an animal. I mean, I like animals. I'm a dog person, preferably, but obviously I have a cat. So, for what it's worth. But, oh, yeah. Small but awesome. Missed the Sunday live shows. I know. I never did any live shows during the original location. Whatever. Yeah. Never did him there. I did him here. This is where I started it. I don't know if I was the first to do live sales, but I was probably among the first for live sales. I started them, I think, in 2015, 2016. Yeah, I think that's when I started it. And Bruce was there day one of my live shows. Kind and management are not compatible. No, they are not. They are not. They strung me along for 3 months, knowing my lease was up in my other spot, and then I'd send them a bid, basically, or an offer for the spot and a rent type thing, and they strung me along for like 3 to 4 months before giving me an answer, a yes or no answer, because they knew my lease was up, and like, oh, we could get at least 1 more month out of this guy. By the way, of a new rent agreement, which was double the amount I was paying. The place that I had, this little dinky hole in the wall, I couldn't control my lights. I couldn't control the temperature. The temperature was controlled on a spot on this side. It's like a hair salon. My lights were controlled on the other side, which was a restaurant. I was just in the middle of chaos, and they were charging me. I was paying like $800 a month for this spot. It was $1 square foot, so it was 800 square feet. It might have been smaller. Now I think about it. I don't remember. It wasn't very big. But they were going to start charging me $1,600 for this space. And so if I didn't get out of that spot and moved in to this spot, would have had to have paid twice. Which the rent for this one wasn't too bad. It was $1,200. No, because I did the job. I did it for, I offered him $1,000. And then and with an escalation over a few years. So it was $1,000, and so I had to pay that plus $1,600 if I didn't get out in time. Yeah. And I had hired 2 contractors to do it for me because I didn't think I would have time. I didn't want to close the store. But they wouldn't show up, or they would cancel, or this one guy showed up and worked for 10 minutes and said he had to leave, and then he never came back. So I was down to like 10 days. 10 days I did all the work. Man, it's all coming back to me now. Crazy. Can't believe I did that. Anyway, and there I am selling the store. Last day, walking out. I included my original, before I even owned the store, or had a brick and mortar shop business card. I found a stack of them in an old like dresser, not dresser, but a box out in the garage. And yeah, there it is. When I sold it, the new owner was supposed to keep the name, because I sold him the name, kind of, and the Facebook page and a bunch of other stuff. He was like, no, I didn't want to keep the name. I want this. It's going to be great. He changed the name, killed it like within like a month or so. It was kind of sad. Here we go. Look at that. And here you can kind of see it below, but this is the cover that I was showing you earlier. That's this, which is the cover of the book. Made my own assets. But this is how I got through the pandemic last year. Was making and selling like this stuff. I had to really shift because I lost every client I had in one day in March of 2020. Because when the outbreak first hit, I was doing super well. I had a bunch of clients. And yeah, they all had to shut down. Some of them were businesses, and they had to literally go out of business. Really, really sad. And so I had to figure something out. So I resorted back to my old days of buy, sell, and trading. and I started making 3D printed action figures and things and sold them to scrape. I mean, absolutely scrape by. Barely scraped by. It wasn't until about June, I think. It was about June. Luria at Livestream Pros, her company was booming. Absolutely booming. And so she brought me back on, and I've been back since, so she saved me. I made these for for my documentary project. I still have a couple of these left. Didn't sell them all. I need to move them. I think I got 3 left, actually. But I made 10 of these and sold them to raise money for a documentary that I'm working on currently still. Still happening. But yeah, these are the things I was doing for the pandemic. You can watch fun videos. I created a vintage toy commercial from the 80s, shot it on VHS with my friend Jordan, and to market the sale of these figure kits. Oh, I hired somebody to make these for me. It turns out he never made them. He just stole the work from somebody else and collected the fee for me or from me. And so I stopped selling these once I found that out, because these were technically somebody else's designs. I thought I commissioned these. And so that was frustrating. Very frustrating. So that's one reason why I stopped. I don't like stealing other people's work. Get some food. Good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping by. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Made this for my sister as a birthday gift last year. And yeah, you can watch me making it and her open it and her first reaction. It's pretty cool. And yeah, these are actual 3D scans that I picked up from somebody from the actual props from the movie, and I have the 3D files, so I printed them and made it. It's pretty cool. This unfortunately is not real. I own it. It's just a resin kit. One of my absolute holy grail things to own is a real Sony Walkman TPL 11. TPL 11? Something like that. I think that's the model number. But the ones from Guardians of the Galaxy would absolutely die if I could get one of those in my hands for real. They're so expensive. I think, oh my god, I think the cheapest I've ever seen one is $600. Typically they're like $600 all the way up to like $1,100. It's insane for a cassette player. But I want one so bad. But I got the resin one, and that's good enough for now. It's over there on my other set, which you might be able to see it a little bit. No, you can't. It's all dark. That's my other camera for the studio. Wilson made a Wilson a couple years ago, and you can watch me make them. Okay, here we go. This is somebody was asking this. Shay, if you're still in the house, I think it was you that asked this. This is what I've been trying to do, but COVID destroyed it. Big time. And that is this company called Create Impact. And it was launching March 2020. And if you remember, that's when everything kind of went to shit. Like, for sure. Went down the crapper. No, he said he would do Guardians 3. But that was going to be his last one. Like, he wants to see Drax go away or be rebooted or recasted or whatever. But he's still doing Guardians 3 as far as I know. Nobody else can play him. He has that character locked. But anyway, we digress. Yeah, so this company I was making, it was all space themed. I made it really fun, and because I wanted it to be a little bit different. But basically, the concept of the company was, it wasn't like a freelance person. Like, if you needed some work done, like, I could do it for you, but more on a subscription base. Like, I'm in your pocket, retainer essentially. Like, I work with you, like, on the regular, and it would be for smaller businesses or anyone that just want to get started, like, creating content for themselves. But really, the small businesses, helping them create ads for, Facebook for their products, or create maybe webinars or training courses and things, whatever it might be. But I would be there along with, along for the ride, through the process of it, and I would even handle and manage your content. So like, because one thing I learned when I had my store, and you guys might remember this, I made wacky little commercials, and people love those. Like, I would just make a fool of myself for you guys' entertainment, and it got people to come in the store. People would come up to me on the street. I'd be at the grocery store, and they would see these commercials I was creating. And most, if not the majority, of small businesses don't, have that capability to create that. They don't have the access to the equipment or the knowledge or whatever, or the time. Mostly that. It's the time. Because anyone can do anything. It's just a matter of time before you get to that point. So, but why waste your time doing that when you have somebody else do it for you that already knows how to do it? So, I'm going to do both. And so I had the idea of, well, I'll be that person for other small businesses. It was going really well. I had a lot of people I was working with, and I was getting ready to launch it in March of 2020. And then it just went to shit. And the lost every client in one day. They all called me the same day, or emailed me and messaged me or whatever, like, hey, I'm so sorry, but my business has to close the doors. I don't know if I'm even gonna reopen. I have to restructure things. And it's like, I get it, but like what I was trying to do got killed. And I had so much optimism that I was gonna bring it. It's still gonna be a thing. That's where I'm at right now. Still, it's a shadow company at the moment. It's not really being advertised, so like right now at all. So it's still, I still want to bring it out. The small businesses need help the most right now, but they don't have the resources or money to do it. And the other thing about this company is it's not, like, one of the slogans I have for it is, just because you don't understand something doesn't mean you need to be taken advantage of. And a lot of content creators or videographers or photographers, they take advantage, and they will overcharge you just because you don't know anything. And they'll blame it on, oh, you're paying for my equipment. Like, it's a $4,000 camera, $6,000 whatever, lights and all that stuff, which is true, but it's still a choice they made to buy that. And technology has gotten so good right now that you can buy pretty much any entry-level camera off the shelf from like Best Buy for $500, and you got 4K, all these other crazy awesome features for super cheap. Yeah, there's better reasons to go for, the good stuff, better high-end cameras and whatever, for sure. But you can't really use that excuse in modern days anymore. And I wanted to be able to provide a service that wasn't going to break the bank or put these businesses out of business. So I had come up with an awesome strategy and pricing plan, all that stuff. So it was already cheap, but small businesses still are struggling and don't have the ability to afford it. So what I was doing during the pandemic was offering up free services, whatever it might be, consulting, small jobs, but also more importantly, I was bringing people on my live shows and selling their product for them, essentially having them on and selling. I call them the community live sales. And we talk about that a little bit more. So create impact is what I've been trying to build. This is a long answer for you specifically, Shay, because you asked me, what I've been trying to build for a while. And yeah, unfortunately it's taken a back burner to say the least. Yeah. The return. This is me coming back to do a live sale event under Showroom Collectibles' name to bring back help create off the ground, which just happened last January, and it was awesome. It had sponsors. It was super good. This is where I kind of talk about the sales and doing the community sales, which I haven't done one in a while, but it was just my way of giving back to the community as much as possible through these times. And I brought on businesses to sell like their product. It was mostly in the nerd and comic booky collectible world, but they did really, really well on these shows. I didn't collect money from them; it was just a service, and yeah, they were really fun. This is my friend Kevin, and this is one of the things I was helping him with, was some live streaming for his channel. He was making a puppet. He's a puppet maker. He does animatronics. Super talented guy. We've been on and off with talks of working on some projects in the future, like full length like shows, and I hope that happens because there's some really cool ideas that we bounce off each other. He has some access to network connections, basically, like TV and Netflix and things. He has people in the industry that he knows and good friends with. So a lot of stuff that if we do, can be what's the right word? Not escalated, but put in front of the head of the line quicker. So hopefully that can happen. He's a really cool guy too. But again, pandemic shut this down. And here's the studios that I build. I talk about it a little bit. I travel around, build streaming studios, recording studios for a variety of clientele, authors, webinar creators, course trainings, things like that. Those are the most common ones. Sometimes podcasts, but yeah, build recording studios. Well, a few things I like. Some shows and movies. Psych is my favorite show of all of the times. Is super good. And Army of Darkness is one of my favorite movies of all of the times as well. It's kind of tied, which we'll get to in the next page. And yeah, I got to see the real book at the Museum of Pop Culture in Seattle. But if you get a chance to watch Psych, it's super good. It's kind of a live-action Scooby-Doo in a way sometimes. Slapsticky here and there. It's fun. I enjoy it. And I have a bunch of these cards. And I did a live unboxing of these last year. And so I thought just throwing them in as a little extra fun bonus would be pretty fun. So yeah, this is interesting too because I put this book in here. This is a Stranger Things book. I'm going to zoom in because it's kind of hard to see. There we go. If you get a chance to read this book, it's pretty freaking cool. The layouts and stuff are similar. It inspired this book. The one I've got right here. It inspired it. But there's another book that really inspired it, like way more, but this was first. And it was a book that I didn't know existed. But I'm a huge Parks and Rec fan. And if you're a fan of the show, you know that there's Leslie Knope's was it Welcome to Pawnee book. It's real. It's an actual book you can buy, and it's really fun to look through. And it's a similar style like this. But I was debating if I should put that one or this one. But this one was the first, like I already kind of started this book, and this one just after seeing this, so that's why I left that one. And then just a few other random fun stuff. I wish this was real. Favorite show 2 in the top 5. My Name is Earl. I really want to do a documentary about this show. I've had very brief conversations with the show creator, Greg Garcia. Yeah. And so I think I could get him on board for like some interviews or a interview, and talk about the show. Cause I want to really showcase, it got canceled. If you don't know this show, it got canceled on a cliffhanger at a time when there were shows like not to knock it, but it's a great contrast. 2.5 Men, right? 2.5 Men was on the air. This was on the air. This is a show about like somebody making up for their wrongs and putting good karma back into the world. And then this gets canceled, but a show about a guy that's just a sleazebag gets to stay on the air. I mean, I get why, numbers, viewers, and things like that. And plus, this was going on during the writers' strike of 08, and so I don't know if that has something to do with it. That's why I wanted to interview him and talk about it. But I want to interview people, ask them things. I have an idea, so hopefully I'll make a documentary about that one day. It'd be really cool. And plus, if I could work with Jason Lee, that'd be pretty cool. He's also a photographer, and he does instant photography too, so that's pretty sweet. Just some other shows that that I liked, movies kind of shaped me. This is a long story. Basically talk about something very special to me in my life, and that's all I can say about that right now. But yeah, that's all I can say right now. Here we go. Someone was asking about this earlier. Yes, that is a real play button. I do have it. It's up on the shelf over here, but I did not technically earn it. Actually, I did not earn it. But I do have it. I was brought onto a YouTube channel called Geeks Life in 2017. Yeah, late 2017, very late 2017. And it already had the 100,000 subscriber mark. I think it had the 115. Yeah, 115,000. And this really was the first. Well, I already had a YouTube channel, but it wasn't very good. It was fun. It was called Toy Kings. It did not go anywhere. A few hundred subscribers, but it was still fun to do. And so, but this one is when I really was able to take it seriously and do a lot of crazy stuff and really advance my level of content creating and filmmaking, things like that. And there's a whole thing I'm going to talk about in the future about Geeks Life, but I can't talk about it right now, unfortunately. So I can't go too much. I had to alter this book too a little bit. There's a couple versions I have of the book that the original stuff is in, but I've had to remove some things, and it involves this, and so I will share eventually. But the moral of it is I get to help people that already have like huge followings, and I think I get more out of that than having a play button. It has been one of my dreams since like I was in high school practically, for getting one, earning one. I really want one, but it's not a main goal of my life anymore. I get to help people with their content and their channel, and like I was hanging out with Peter Hollins. I built him a studio. I did a video over on Livestream Pros about it too, and I've helped so many other content creators in the last few years via whatever studio bills, consulting, things like that. And that's more to me now than a stupid little plaque on the wall. Is the moral of the story. So yeah, I want to show off some people that really inspired me, shaped me, learned from, and the two guys right away is Peter and Maddie. I don't watch their content anymore. I went through a phase like everybody kind of. I mean, they're huge right still, and Peter is definitely way up there, and I've met them and I've hung out with them on a few different occasions. Peter doesn't like me, I'm pretty sure. But he's still a cool guy. And it may have just been him, because he was definitely he's a shy guy. But I helped them. Well, it was kind of a team effort. But their podcast that they got, I was part of getting that up and running back in the day before they stopped. And I think they brought it back again recently. But sent them some equipment, got them up and running. But it wasn't until I saw their content. I always had a vision in my head on how to shoot something, but I could never really get it out of me. And I saw their stuff and it just clicked. I'm like, that's it. That's what I've been trying to do for so many years. So that's really why they're in the book. And then Rhett and Link, big, I've been long time fans of them. I'm kind of going to sum up on some of these guys. Freddie and Brandon, classic. I met Freddie, interviewed him years ago. You can watch that. But Corridor Digital, that's what I want to focus on. These guys are that. I've learned like almost everything. Not all, but almost everything from these guys. Storytelling, but also like editing and shooting, all that sort of stuff. But more importantly, things that they weren't really directly teaching, I learned from. How to treat people right. How to run a successful business, how to manage people, how to manage situations and things. I learned from just observing them, and I had the opportunity to apply for a job for them a few years ago, and you can actually watch that right there. Obviously, I didn't get the job, but I might have been close in the running, because I sent them the video of my they needed an editor, and so I sent them a sample of my work. And they watched it, which is kind of weird to see, because you could see like I had to upload it to YouTube unlisted, so it's 0 views, and then see it go up a view. It's kind of like, whoa! And I know they watched it, but then it got watched like 14 more times, maybe it may have even been more. It might have been almost 20. So that means it got passed around a few times through the company and watched it, at least by a couple different people, because maybe they watched some of it and then came back and watched the rest of it or something. I don't know, but kind of gives me the idea that I may have been in the running for the job, which is pretty cool. But regardless, I'm glad I didn't get the job. I would have to have moved to Los Angeles. I have no desire to live in Los Angeles. No desire. But I would have. It would have been an amazing opportunity. Absolutely amazing. That was in 2018. Yes, 2018. And then the man himself, Mr. Dave Knopp. Good friend of mine now. Yeah, we talk pretty much daily. So shout out to you, Dave, if you are watching. But gave you full spread. And I actually had put this in here really before we even started talking, because I made this last year. And we had, I think, a couple of messages back and forth, and that was it. Maybe. But I've been following Dave. He's like an OG YouTuber, man. Like, I've been following him for probably 10 years. And I was making this book, and I was putting in all these people, and I'm like, wait a minute, there's one person like I've overlooked. And so I talk a little bit about that, like overlooking somebody. And, you know, like, we do that. We tend to take the people closest people in our lives for granted. And we don't realize it, and we don't mean to, because it's just, we see them every day, and we, you know, get comfortable about it, and things go on with, you know, unsaid and whatever, right? And so just basically stop for a minute and, you know, go thank the people closest to you. That's really the summary of all of that. The best I could really describe. And this brings us to Phil. Phil's my boy. He's my dog. DAWGG, that is. I talk about that here. Phil and I have had our ups and downs over the years. And one of the problems we have, I think, is communication. We don't communicate very well. And we've always found our way back to each other, but we've been through some blackouts for sure of not talking to one or seeing one another, the longest being 2 years. I've known him for probably almost 10 years now. Gosh, has it been that long? No. Maybe 9 years. Dang, that's been a long time. I've known Phil for a very long time. We've traveled the country together. We even went to Canada once. And he's a good friend of mine. But even right now, like in this moment right now, I haven't seen or talked to him really since January. We got into it a little bit. And again, probably just because of communication skills. And yeah, he's not returning my messages. So, that's that. But we've done a lot of projects, and you can watch some of them here. And I don't have any hatred towards him whatsoever. People argue, people, you know, go through phases. And I talk about that here. Like, I couldn't even remember why, really, we didn't talk for so long. And so I just reached out to him a couple years ago. This is what this talks about. I just was like, no, yeah, it was 2019. I was like, dude, what's up? And we hadn't talked or seen each other in 2 years, and he responded right away. We got together, and we hit the ground running. Got back into the groove of things. Super cool. I'm sure we'll be there again soon. This is a fun trip. I was in Las Vegas for an event. We were covering NAB, the National Association of Broadcasters, basically Comic-Con, but for cameras. And I was, at this point in time, going through my Peter McKinnon phase heavily, and I happened to see that he took a photo. This one right here. This is his photo. He had posted this to Instagram, and I'm like, that's cool. And he says he was at a ghost town. And I'm like, I want to go to a ghost town. So we went. David and Luria, two people I was with, we went down there. And I tracked down where he took it, which actually took a lot longer. Because this is a big place, as you can see. It was a really large... It's a man-made ghost town. It's actual highway robbery. The guy that owns it, it's his property, he charges based on what you're doing. And it varies. Weird prices. It's weird. But took me a while to find it, and I found it, and I took a photo of it. Now I'm going to go full screen on it. Button. There we go. So this is my photo. That's his photo. And I challenged Peter to a photo contest. Like, who took it better? Oh, that's funny. That photo does not connect, by the way. They are not next to each other. Except Peter took this photo with a $6,000 camera, the 1DX Mark II. I took this with an iPhone 6S Plus, which was like 3 years old at the time. I didn't hear back from him. But I'm still shocked at how well this photo came out for an iPhone. iPhone! Crazy! I miss Bruno too. I really do. I'm sure we'll be back, but right now, yeah, he's not responding. Polaroid Part 2. And it's a really cool evolution because Part 1, which if you remember from the earlier, way back at the beginning, where is it? How far back was it? It was pretty far back. Right here. I made this when I was like first starting out in instant photography. I only been in instant photography since last year. Kind of. I mean, I was using this one for like 3 years, but I didn't really like make it a focus and a real hobby until last year. So this was done in December. These last pages, the evolution of my hobby, like it's obsession with cameras. So I left like the professional ones towards the end of the book, and I just kind of talk about it and my deals. Like I paid $5 for that, yeah, and I paid $20 for the Beast. Talk about that a little bit too, and that's where I got it from. Is this studio? I had to put it in there, show them respect, and then yeah, here's all the pages. And there's actually supposed to be a photo in here, but I didn't include it since this is the one I was keeping for my shelf. But there is a actual Polaroid that was included with this, which was a photo of the sign. But it was from the Polaroid lab, so it was actually kind of a mixture. It was a photo of the Kiggins movie theater. I shot on 120 medium format film, but put onto a Polaroid, so everyone got the same one. But yeah, it was on this page, and so yeah, just a random assortment of photos that I shot last year, and yeah, I like that. Did my camera froze, but not this one. Hopefully you can still hear me. It did this earlier. Well, not earlier, in one of my previous streams. Come on now. It might come back. It should come back. Come on now. I guess this is going to be a podcast now. Let me know if you can't hear me. But you should be able to hear me because I run my audio through actually a different source, so you should be good. Should be good. Come on, camera. I might have to go restart my camera in a minute, but okay. Let's go overhead shot. And there we are again. This is also something I have to address soon. One of my biggest failures so far in recent times, but definitely a, yeah. Here we go. That is the Blu-ray that I have yet to fulfill, unfortunately. I failed on that part drastically. Yeah. Oh, you can hear me? Awesome. I'm going to have to go reset my camera in a second. I'll just try to see if I can get it to work again. I don't know what happened exactly, so. But either way, we can go like podcast style. So yeah, I failed on the Blu-ray majorly. I failed on the event majorly. I did a 12-hour live stream and it went off without a hitch. It went beautifully, technically, and everything. I had guests on. It was awesome. Except I didn't sell enough Blu-rays to have them made. I have to make them by myself, if that makes sense. And I'm going to put a pin in that real quick and go fix my camera because I think it's still frozen. It's still frozen. So I will be right back. And then we're almost done. We're about to wrap up. And then I'll talk about the giveaway. So I'll be right back. Alrighty. Hello. How's it going? Fixed it. I don't know what it was, but reset it and it was fine. Yeah, so going back to this, it didn't sell enough Blu-rays to have them made. I was going to have at a print shop ready to go, and I needed to have sold at least 50. I could have done them for about 25, a bare minimum, but cost-wise, the whole idea of making these Blu-rays was to raise money for a documentary trip that was going on. And I could have done it if I sold them for, like, sold minimum 25, but 50 was the mark. Didn't sell anywhere close to that. I sold in 12 hours, like, okay, I was extremely grateful for every single person that showed up. That's the one thing I've been putting off announcing anything because I don't want to come across as ungrateful. A lot of people showed up, watched, enjoyed the stream. It was 12 hours, by the way, 12-hour stream, and like straight. There wasn't like a breaks, maybe 10-minute break maximum, but there was two of us, so if we had to go pee or something, it was just what we traded off. But there was a few people that directly donated to the cause, which was awesome. It was amazing. It was so cool. And then I had my friend Charlie, which is on this second page here. My friend Charlie donated this thing that he made from scratch to be auctioned off. It was so awesome of him to do that, and it ended up going for quite a bit, which was really, really cool. It helped the project out immensely. But the problem is that I was having, we only sold four Blu-rays during the live event, and ended up selling maybe two more in like a week's time. Nowhere near the minimum that I needed to have these done professionally, like authored. So if you like put that Blu-ray in the, your Blu-ray player, it would be like a real movie. You have a menu screen. You could skip through the everything. It was gonna have all these bonus features on it and all that stuff. And so since it didn't get the mark, I would have to do these myself. Now it would just be I'm all about user experience, and if you're donating money or buying something, like I never like asking for money. I'd rather earn it, right? So if I'm looking at it as if you're buying a product, and so if you're buying it, you have an expectation of it being what you expect. So if you're buying a movie, it should look like a movie or a Blu-ray or what it was on my old show, so it would look like a show. I just don't like the idea of you popping open a Blu-ray case and it's a blank disc looking, it's just like somebody ripped this off a computer, because that's what would happen. And then it would just have to play in order as one giant movie, like length of movie. You won't be able to like really choose what you want to watch. I don't have an authoring system to do that. I'd have to spend more money, which defeats the purpose of the whole event. I'd just take all the money I made and buy programs and figure all this out myself to do it. Yeah, and a bunch of other things. So that's where I'm at, and I'm having just to do that. I have to do it. And it's the original delivery date for the Blu-ray was February. It was right around February. Well, we're in May. Yeah. I tried to sell some more in March. It didn't go at all. Didn't sell a single one of them. So I'm at the stage of, do I just issue refunds to everybody, or give almost a half-assed product, which I don't like to do. That's where I'm at, and I'm going to be making an official announcement about it for everybody. Basically holding myself accountable for the situation, because this was on me. I did this. There's a lot of things that I could have done better. I shouldn't have done it here on this channel. I should have done it on another one, which the viewers know about this type of content and would have probably bought. I decided to do it on this channel for a lot of reasons that didn't make sense after the fact. But that is that. I have to, eat crow a little bit on that one. That's on my fault. It's my fault. Jordan's doing great. I see him regularly, usually on Mondays, but not the last couple Mondays. Been busy. Yeah, but he's doing good. So that is that, and now we're almost at the end of this book. Phil hooked us up with a spot to shoot these awesome promo photos. It's really cool. And remember the Easter egg of Jordan I was telling you about? There it is. You get to see the completed little version of it. This was a client of mine, parked outside his house. I mean, he never had the top on. This is in Nashville. It was raining, and then it would be sunny, but he's never put the top down ever. It was just getting rained on inside. It was kind of a weird thing. Get it? So there you go. This is the part where then you've learned about me, and now I'm telling you who I am. And I got to actually stay here at this motel, which I didn't really intend to, but it was the cheapest in Los Angeles, and it was still over $100 to stay at this place. But it's from My Name is Earl, which we talked about earlier, that I want to make a documentary of. But yeah, that is the actual shooting location from the show. Got to go there. It's awesome. And this is where I tell you about the you part, where it comes in. The goal of this book is, well, there it is. Just be you. Here's my links, and that is the end of the book. Now, so the part where this book is about you, and it is the fact that my goal while you're going through this is to think about people in your life, or things that you've done, or somebody that you've had fights with and aren't talking, and maybe you should just call them, or whatever. Stories about your experiences. Maybe you liked to play Tony Hawk when you were a kid, or there was another video game that you liked and forgot about. Maybe there's things that you thought you failed at all the time, and seeing my failures sparks hope for you. Things like that. That is where the story becomes about you. And the people I've shown this to, it's been really cool because I haven't told them. But when they're going through this, it's worked out every time. They're going through like, and they're pulling out their phones or showing me photos of whatever, or starting to share stories about themselves while they're going through the book. And so that was always the goal, is to spark conversations about their story. And it was cool to see it unfold on multiple occasions. So that's the book. That's the book there. And I've never made one before. I didn't intend to actually make this book available. I was originally just going to make it for myself, and maybe just a couple extras to give some family members, maybe a friend, and then hand a few out to show clients for work, so they can see my work, see hey, I can make you a book or whatever. But that is never intended it. And then it was you guys that I had a glimpse of it during one of my live shows one time, and wanted to have it been released, and so I did. There it is, and it was very rewarding. Now I am going to be making one of these a year. Like I said, I'm hoping to make, that's the goal, every year, one of these big, large books. But I want to have a much more affordable and smaller version books that release too. And I'm working on another one, and it's going to come out probably at the end of this year. And it is just on a trip through my hometown that I grew up in, and it will all be on instant photography, just like Polaroid and Fuji and stuff like that. And I've already been making it. I pretty much have all the photos done. I just have to now create the book, and it could be out this summer, but I'm thinking this fall is a more accurate estimate, and hopefully the cost won't be too expensive. I just don't like, I never know what to charge for my stuff. I pretty much base the price of the books off of how much it's made to make the book. It's a lot of pages. It's 140 pages. And so it can only be, I can only do so much as far as the cost of it goes. So, but there it is. That's the book. Now, if you want to get one for yourself, there's two ways. You can click the link in the description and buy one. They're up right now. And so you can, another way to get it is you can win paperback version. I'm giving one of these away with, what did I do with it? Where'd it go? Oh, here it is. With both last month's and this month's print club. I don't have this month's yet. They're actually en route right now. They're going to go out once I get them. But each month for members, I have a little monthly print club of a photo. It's a fun little design. This was last month's, and this month's, well, like I said, it'll be coming out soon. But I'm going to give away both of them with the book, and it'll be signed. To get one, it's really simple. Just head on over to Instagram. There's a link in the description, and comment on one of the last 3 photos that I posted, and maybe give me a follow while you're over there. So that's it. That is it. I'll advertise this over there as well, and I'll make a post over on here on YouTube and stuff, and Facebook about it. So if you missed out, don't worry, I got you covered. You still have a chance. But if you want to get one of the books, there's a link in the description below, and I have a hardback, which I wasn't going to do, but I did. It is a lot more expensive. It's $85 for the hardback, unfortunately, and then it's $60 for the paperback. Yeah, I think that's what it was. And they won't be signed, unfortunately, those ones, because those are coming directly from the publisher of the books. Again, that's why I did it originally, the way I did it originally, so you could get the fun stuff and sign all that goodness. But that is it. That is all I got for you today. Ups and downs, still a fan. You're a great person. Thank you. I really appreciate that, Stuart. I really, really do. I do have a video that I will be making and addressing failure. Yeah, I have a lot of it. But that is it. If you guys want to check out the Patreon page, you can get lots of fun behind the scenes content creating videos, documentary, lots of that. And also you can get the monthly print club photos every single month. Yeah, which I highly recommend. They're really fun to make. And I have little blurbs about the photo. They'll be signed, and yeah, different one each month. And this next month is a pretty cool one. And then next month's I am way excited for. I actually have that one already here as one of the mock-ups. I changed it because this month's was supposed to be another one, but I decided to schnook it. I don't think I have it handy. I would show you. I thought I had it over here, but I guess wait, is that it? I'll show you. This is what this month's was supposed to be, but I abandoned the idea, and then I decided to go a different route and change the photo altogether. But it was supposed to be this one, and this was just a test one. As you can see, the margins were off, and it was too whatever. But that's what it was going to look like. I had an idea of each one of them connecting, like so, and then into the next one, and then have them be a 3, and then they would connect again down in 3s, basically. But I abandoned that idea. But this was going to be that one, number 2. Took that in San Diego in January on the documentary trip. But that's not going to be this month's photo. But this was last month's photo. And I just redid my lights, and I still got to fix that glare. But that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully, found this fun and enjoyable in any way. Hopefully. It was kind of a different one. So thank you so much. And yeah, I guess it's been a 2-hour stream. Dang, that was a long one. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Now get out there, make some art.